Jessica Jones episode 11, aka I've Got the Blues. Now this is actually a really fun episode. This was really a Simpson episode where he's just going nuts the whole time. Like, he kills two people in front of Trish's apartment. He locks Trish up in her room. And still, and I kind of said this, he still found a way, even though he heard, like, oh, Jessica wants to kill Killgrave now, he still manages to turn that into an argument where they have to fight each other. So this is a very Simpson-based episode. We got two different references to this mystery group, and currently I'm about to watch episode 13. I wanted to just do episode 11 and 12, my 11 and 12 reviews before I watch the final one. But it was just a crazy episode. Like, he's taking these pills like crazy. We find out by the end that they're actually combat pills where they basically just shoot your adrenaline into overdrive. And, he's walking around, and this is even, from the other episodes, he's just walking around after this crazy explosion, and, he still has all the cuts and stuff on his face. And it's interesting to think, like, if he didn't just wear clothes, like, if he didn't have that jacket and shirt on, he'd probably be, like, completely burnt up and have just, like, giant stitches all across his chest and stuff, because he was in that explosion, and it was, like, right next to him. And it's crazy to think about that, because we only see his face, so it's like, oh, well, he just has some scratches. But you think about that whole explosion, he was basically dying in Trish's car, and that's like just one half of his body, pretty much. It was kind of hit by that explosion, so it's interesting to just think how bad it looks with, underneath all the clothing, which we can't even see. And he's just walking around like it's nothing, because he pops in these little red pills, and it's just like, I'm totally fine. So, a very good mystery type of episode, because we don't know what this group is about or who they are. They come after Simpson. I'm assuming all they had to do was look at like some security footage, like, oh, that's Trish Walker from this show, and boom, they have her information. So they follow him there. He takes those two guys out. Then they go and pick him up after the crazy fight at Jessica's apartment. Once again, just assuming, based off of the information they had, it's like, well, he could go here. So they go there, pick up his body, and they take off. I love the fact that we have like this just crazy organization, and they have like these super pills, which during the fight scene with Jessica, and I mentioned this before, like the super soldier thing, when he did that and he threw her through the wall, I was like, that has to be something involved with the super soldier serum. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's possible that it's not at this point. And it could be something totally random, but whenever someone shows feats of strength, and it is a combat drug, it could be like an extremely lesser version of the super soldier serum, but it does boost, your adrenaline, which basically boosts your strength. So it was just like, this has to have something to do with the super soldier serum. And considering this is towards the end of the series, or the end of the first season, whatever this group is definitely coming back in season 2. Like, there's just no way that they aren't, because like, it's just too big of a thing. Like, we have this guy who, it started off pretty simple, where he was mind controlled, and then it goes into like this crazy thing where he has to be saved because he kind of reverted back to when he was with this group, and it was just madness, like sheer chaos from them. Whatever he was doing was really bad before, which he mentions in an episode, and clearly that's why he was such a, like, he's so driven and kind of angry. Like he said, it's the Killgrave thing, but I think it has to be like a blend of what happened, when he was under Killgrave's control, and also just who he is as a human being, because he totally didn't need to kill that cop, but he's in such a crazy drive, like, you know what? Let's kill Killgrave. I'm going to kill everyone in my way, even if they're totally innocent. So there goes Clemens. Like, of course, 2 years from retirement. The only way that could have been funnier is if he was only 2 days from retirement, like the really old cliche. But they do actually bring it up that he's 2 years from retirement twice, which I thought was kind of funny. But it was just crazy to watch him in this episode. He was already, like, once he killed Clemens, it was like he's up, it's about as low as you can get. He killed someone already, so the only thing left is like to see what happens, like if he tries to actually kill Trish, because we knew Jessica wouldn't get killed, but with Trish it was like it could have been completely by accident, and we almost did lose, and I was really glad she didn't die, of course, because that would have just sucked. But she has to take that combat pill. Well, she doesn't have to, but she does decide, like, they most likely wouldn't have gotten out of that bathroom without her taking one of those pills. And, she gets out of there, and then they have a really cool sort of team-up thing, because at first she's beating him up, but then when she gets thrown on the table, that's when Jessica comes in, and she, like, grabs him. I believe she grabs him, or she, like, just swings one arm backwards. But she tosses him, and he gets knocked into, like, the cabinets and everything. And he was down for the count, and then she, like, was about to, basically toss the refrigerator on him. Although pretty much all that happened was, like, it leaned over and broke out of the wall. It didn't even really fall down, which I thought was kind of funny. But the gesture, if it was still there. But it was really fun. It was a great fight scene. And then, like Simpson said, like, your brain will it'll forget to tell your lungs to even breathe, which I thought was pretty interesting. As a side effect, that's pretty crazy. Like, it stops you from breathing, and that's an involuntary reaction that we have in our bodies, because, when we go to sleep, we aren't thinking about breathing. Our body just breathes. It's just like your heart beating and your blood pumping. That's automatic, those are called involuntary reactions. Unless I'm totally wrong. It's involuntary something if it's not reactions. It could just be actions instead of reactions, because they're not reacting. But it was pretty cool that was kind of like the crazy side effect, and that's exactly what happens. Unfortunately, with it being a stimulant, thank goodness for EMS. He was just like, all right, it's a stimulant, boom, and she was alive. So modern medicine, even for crazy combat drugs, modern medicine can sometimes do the trick. So that was really cool. I know in the comics, Trish is the character Hellcat, and I only know that because of the show, and I've watched other reviews, so that's the only reason I know that. So I don't know if she has powers or anything like that in the comic books, but this kind of made me wonder, like, if she gets saved from this, will that end up giving her power, since it was like the first time she ever took this combat drug, which pumps up her adrenaline and everything. Would that reaction with the stimulant kind of keep the chemicals within her system somehow, and basically that's kind of how she develops powers, where she can just pump herself up, which basically gives you extra strength if your adrenaline's pumping. So I wondered if they would kind of play with that route, and they may not do that, but they could easily do that, and it's just like, oh, it's the effect doesn't happen for like a really long time or something, and it starts in season 2 maybe, who knows. But I thought that would be an interesting way to do it. Maybe she'll become the character in season 2 because of the drugs, if she gets the drugs again from this mystery group, because they're totally coming back in season 2. There's no way they could be wrapped up in they wrap up like this whole crazy storyline, like, oh, it's this mystery group, this is what happens, and this and this and this, all in 3 episodes. And I guess they could try. I'm currently about to watch episode 13. I don't believe I said that. This is like my second time doing this review, so I don't really know if I said that already. But they can't. I wouldn't see them wrapping it up in just this one season. Plus, that would take out something that they could really expand upon in season 2. And I don't know if this group is going to be like a really big thing, and maybe it kind of, from now on, this will be sort of the secret group that kind of expands throughout the rest of the Defenders, so it goes into like maybe Luke Cage's show and the Iron Fist show, and then when they bring all of them together, that's maybe like the big thing when they're the Defenders. That's who they take on, is this crazy mystery group. But who knows? I mean, they have all these people, clearly they're trained assassins. They do all sorts of crazy. It's not just Black Ops. This is like, this isn't even like government stuff. This is almost just like secret evil organization type of stuff. So I don't know who they are, what their plan is, or what they've been doing for such a long time. But I'm sure we'll figure it out soon enough. But I really love this episode. I really like Jessica's sort of downward spiral. Like, she had this kind of like she did with the Supermax thing, where in that one she had a terrible idea, but she went about it. She kind of had like all the right plans to get thrown to Supermax. And in this episode, I think it was the opposite, where she had a really good plan, which was search for Killgrave's father, search all the John Does. But instead of doing it in a normal way, the plan was good, but the action to complete the plan was bad, because she was staying up all night, and like Trish said, so many hours, without sleep. This happens, and then this happens, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. Because after all the chaos of the previous episode, Killgrave's escaping, all of that stuff, and who knows how long they were up. All of them were up before that. So then she's going all through the night, and then of course she sees some random guy in purple who we all knew wasn't going to be Killgrave, and she gets hit by a car, or by a truck actually. So it was interesting to kind of watch that little downward spiral that started off fairly simple, and then it kind of got really bad. She got hit by a truck. So I really enjoyed that, and then it goes through, and then she has to deal with Simpson, and then the end of the episode is like, oh, I heard you've been looking for me, and I also ran into your boyfriend, so you can go and save him. And we get to see Luke Cage, and basically just huge explosion. He's there, just close the window, boom, the whole place blows up. Of course, he was totally fine, and there's nothing to it. It was just like, all right, well, it's Luke Cage. He's impenetrable skin. He'll be fine. But his bar's gone, so that of course sucks. And he just comes out on fire. Clothes also perfectly fine. Very Hulk moment where it's like, probably all your clothes should be gone right now, but that's fine. I don't need to see anybody naked anyway. But now we have that where he's his whole bar has been blown up. Odds are, and I've seen the episode, so I know what happens. But when I first when I saw it, it was like, I was thinking like maybe it just blew up and he wouldn't know, but that didn't make any sense whatsoever. So he's under Killgrave's control somehow, and it was just crazy. It was like, man, dude, it was pretty simple. Unfortunately, it was super late at night, and so it was like nothing happened. So it was just like boom, and nobody was really there to get taken out. It was just him in a bar, and it's just like he just closes the window on it. I just thought like how it looked was just like, and as soon as it closes, just boom, the whole thing explodes. But he's totally fine. And then we have Trish, who's in the hospital now. She's doing well. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if it will have any effect this season or anything, but it would be interesting if that's how she becomes the character Hellcat, and it's because of these drugs. And because she was really pumped up and she was excited, which I think is just an adrenaline thing that just would naturally happen to anyone. Like, man, I'm like super pumped up. I'm ready to do whatever. And then, she almost dies because her brain was like, that's something I'm supposed to be doing, but I forgot. So, very fun episode. Looking forward to, I've seen the next two, but I'm really looking forward to this final one, and I gotta get through my last two reviews. But this was a really fun episode. Like, I enjoyed this, sort of reverse, it's still a downward spiral, but just done differently. Kind of, like I said, plan was good, action was bad, instead of just terrible, terrible plan. So, that was pretty fun. Man, just everything in this episode is just pretty crazy. Like, it started off kind of simple, and then it just went down from there. And then the whole Simpson thing, like, that was the really big focus of this, was Simpson and this mystery group, and just the craziness that comes from whoever these people are. But I certainly enjoyed it. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about it, though, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I want to know what you guys think about this mystery group, whether you've watched ahead or not. If you have, of course, please put, like, spoiler alert and all that stuff. But I want to know if you guys think it'll get wrapped up in this season, or if you think it'll expand into something that, I think for sure it'll be the season 2, or if not the big thing for season 2, it'll at least be one of the big things for season 2. But I'm not 100% sure if I believe it'll expand to like every other show, because we're at the halfway point now, because we already had Daredevil, Jessica's the second, then we have Luke Cage and Iron Fist. So I don't think this will technically expand into both of those, especially not Iron Fist. Iron Fist, I think, will kind of be very separated from the other three that we've seen, at least for the start of it, because of just his origin and everything. But it could expand into Luke Cage, considering he and Jessica are like basically just tight-knit, like comic-wise and show-wise. They've clearly made it like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage have a connection, and they're going to be tied to each other. So it could expand into that, and Luke Cage has a lot to do with, them figuring out who this mystery group is. But I want to know how far you guys think they're going to take Simpson and, these people that he works for. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.